When we first started the show, I really thought we were doing a show about building cars and motorcycles for people. It evolved into a show about people and their...
While millions tuned in to watch Danny the Count Koker restore classic cars on Counting Cars, a much darker story was unfolding behind the cameras at Count's Customs. Money vanishing from company accounts, key cast members mysteriously disappearing without explanation, and a web of legal battles that would shock even the most devoted fans. What you saw on TV was carefully crafted entertainment, but the real drama happening off-screen was far more explosive than any scripted argument over paint colors. The truth about what really goes down at Count's Customs will change everything you thought you knew about this beloved show. In 2017, Count's Customs was hit with a scandal that would make any business owner's blood run cold. Joseph Frontiera, the shop's trusted accountant and a familiar face to Counting Cars viewers, had been systematically draining the company's bank accounts for his own personal gain. But this wasn't just petty cash going missing. We're talking about a staggering $75,000 that vanished right under Danny's nose. The details of Frontiera's scheme are absolutely mind-blowing. He used company funds to make a down payment on his personal Range Rover, treating Count's Customs like his own personal piggy bank. But it gets worse. He was booking airline tickets for personal trips using the shop's money, living it up while Danny and the crew worked their tails off building cars. The most shocking part? Frontiera had secretly created rubber stamp copies of both Danny Koker's and Kevin Mack's signatures, essentially giving himself unlimited access to company funds. The financial damage didn't stop there. Because Frontiera was supposed to handle the company's tax payments, his negligence resulted in an $18,000 IRS penalty that Count's Customs had to absorb. Think about that. Not only did he steal their money, but his failures cost them even more in government fines. Danny was forced to launch a massive lawsuit to recover the stolen funds, and the legal battle became a nightmare that played out while cameras were still rolling. What makes this betrayal even more devastating is that Frontiera wasn't just some random employee. He was part of the Count's Customs family, appearing regularly on the show and gaining the trust of both the crew and the fans. The hiring company that recommended him, Randstad Professionals, later faced their own lawsuit for allegedly failing to disclose his sketchy employment history. But the damage was already done, and the scandal would be just the beginning of Count's Customs troubles. In September 2020, something bizarre happened that left Counting Cars fans completely baffled. Kevin Mack, Danny's right-hand man and best friend for over 2 decades, simply vanished from the show without a trace. One day he was there, the next he was gone, and nobody was talking about why. The whole situation started when Kevin posted on Twitter, hyping up new episodes of Counting Cars that were about to air. Fans tuned in expecting to see their favorite duo in action, but Kevin was nowhere to be found. Week after week, episodes aired without any sign of Danny's most trusted partner, and the silence from both the History Channel and Kevin himself was deafening. When desperate fans started flooding his social media with questions, Kevin's responses only made things more mysterious. "I'm still here. Lol. Silly peeps," he tweeted, but that cryptic message raised more questions than it answered. If he was still there, why wasn't he appearing on the show? What was really going on behind the scenes? The timing of Kevin's disappearance couldn't have been worse. As the shop's general manager and Danny's closest confidant, Kevin was the backbone of Count's Customs operations. He handled everything from budget oversight to scouting new projects, and his chemistry with Danny was a huge part of what made the show so entertaining. Their friendship, forged over decades of riding motorcycles together, was genuine, which made his sudden absence even more shocking. Various theories started circulating online. Some suggested scheduling conflicts, others whispered about behind-the-scenes drama or personal issues, but the official silence was telling. Neither Kevin nor the network would provide any real explanation, leaving fans to wonder if they'd ever see him again. The fact that someone so integral to the show could just disappear without acknowledgement suggested there were serious problems brewing at Count's Customs that viewers weren't being told about. Kevin Mack wasn't the only one who mysteriously faded from Counting Cars. The show began hemorrhaging cast members in ways that should have raised major red flags for anyone paying attention. Shannon Eichow, the master motorcycle builder who brought incredible craftsmanship to every bike that rolled through the shop, started appearing less and less frequently before disappearing entirely. Shannon's situation was particularly strange because he was one of the most talented fabricators on the show. Danny constantly praised his engineering skills, calling him the #1 builder in the bike shop. But despite his obvious value to the business, Shannon's screen time gradually decreased until he was completely written out. The official story claimed he wanted new challenges and opportunities, but fans noticed his departure coincided with some of the shop's most turbulent times. Then there was Roli Sabo, the Hungarian detailer whose thick accent and quirky personality made him a fan favorite. Roli simply stopped appearing on the show, and later interviews revealed he'd been struggling financially, especially after the pandemic hit his personal detailing business hard. The man who once polished cars for one of TV's most successful automotive shows was left scrambling to rebuild his career from scratch. Even Scott Jones, the original shop manager, left under suspicious circumstances. While the show claimed he moved to Tennessee for his newborn son, industry insiders suggested there were deeper issues at play. The pattern was becoming impossible to ignore. Key personnel who helped build Counts Customs into a powerhouse were either being pushed out or walking away on their own. What's most disturbing is how the show handled these departures. Instead of addressing the elephant in the room, producers simply moved on as if these integral team members had never existed. Fans were left wondering, if working at Counts Customs was such an amazing opportunity, why did so many talented people keep leaving? Everything you thought you knew about how counting cars operates is basically a carefully constructed illusion. Those spontaneous car purchases you watched Danny make on the street? Completely fake. The tight deadlines and budget constraints that created drama in every episode? Pure theater. The show's entire premise was built on deception, and the cracks in that facade eventually became impossible to hide. Industry insiders have revealed that every single car deal featured on the show was pre-arranged long before cameras started rolling. Danny didn't just stumble across classic cars while cruising Vegas. Producers would scout vehicles, negotiate prices, and set up the entire scenario in advance. The spontaneous encounters with car owners were scripted performances, with regular people acting as if they'd never met Danny before. But the fakery went deeper than just staged purchases. The show regularly featured incorrect information about the vehicles they were working on, with Danny getting basic automotive facts wrong that any real expert would know. Things got so bad that producers eventually started fact-checking everything he said before it aired, essentially admitting that their supposed car expert didn't actually know what he was talking about. The time pressures and budget constraints that drove so much of the show's drama were equally fraudulent. Behind the scenes, projects took as long as they needed, and financial limitations were far more flexible than what viewers saw. The manufactured urgency was designed to create television moments, not reflect the actual restoration process. Even the customer reactions were manipulated. While the finished cars were real and often impressive, the surprised and delighted responses from clients were carefully orchestrated. Customers knew exactly what to expect because they'd been involved in planning sessions long before their vehicles were supposedly revealed to them. The genuine craftsmanship was there, but everything surrounding it was pure performance designed to keep viewers hooked on what they thought was authentic automotive reality television. While fans were watching Danny restore classic cars on TV, he was fighting a completely different battle in courtrooms and legal offices. The Count's image and reputation were under attack from multiple directions, and the stress of these hidden legal wars was taking a serious toll on both the man and his business empire. The most bizarre scandal involved fake CBD advertisements that used Danny's image without permission. Scammers had created convincing promotional materials claiming that Danny was selling CBD oil and tablets, even using footage of his appearances on Fox News to make their lies seem credible. The fake ads were so well crafted that people Danny knew personally were fooled into placing orders and losing their money. But here's where it gets really dark. The History Channel wasn't happy about these CBD rumors, even though Danny had absolutely nothing to do with them. The network reportedly had a falling out with Danny over the situation, putting additional pressure on a man who was already dealing with the financial theft from Frontiera and the mysterious departures of key cast members. Danny hired a legal team to combat the lies spreading across social media, but fighting fake news in the digital age is like trying to stop water with a net. Every time they shut down one fraudulent ad, 3 more would pop up somewhere else. The constant battle was draining both financially and emotionally, especially when friends and fans couldn't tell the difference between real Danny Koker content and elaborate scams. The legal troubles extended beyond just the CBD scandal. Counts Customs faced multiple lawsuits over the years, from employee theft to various business disputes. For a man whose public image was built on being a laid-back car enthusiast living his dream, the reality was a never-ending cycle of court dates, legal fees, and reputation management. The rock and roll lifestyle that made Danny famous was being slowly destroyed by the very success that created it. Success in reality television comes with a price that most viewers never see. And for the cast of Counting Cars, that price was steeper than anyone imagined. While millions of people watched them restore incredible vehicles every week, The financial reality behind the scenes was far more complicated and often devastating than the glamorous image suggested. One of the most shocking revelations is that Danny struggled to sell cars from his personal collection specifically because of the show's popularity. You'd think being on TV would make everything more valuable, but it actually created unexpected problems. Potential buyers would recognize vehicles from the show and either expect unrealistic deals or assume everything was overpriced because of the celebrity connection. The cast members themselves faced their own financial challenges despite their television fame. Rolly Sabo's post-show struggles with his detailing business revealed how precarious life can be for reality TV personalities once the cameras stop rolling. The pandemic hit him particularly hard, and the man who once worked on some of TV's most expensive custom cars found himself starting over from scratch. Even more disturbing is how the show's success created a trap for everyone involved. Cast members became known for their television personalities rather than their actual automotive skills, making it difficult to establish credibility in the industry outside of Kustoms. They were famous, but that fame came with golden handcuffs that limited their career options. The business itself faced constant pressure to maintain the image viewers expected while dealing with real-world financial challenges that couldn't be shown on camera. Insurance costs, legal fees, and the expense of maintaining multiple business ventures while filming a television show created a complex web of financial obligations that had to be carefully managed behind the scenes. The dream life that viewers saw every week was built on a foundation that was far more fragile than anyone realized. The most telling sign that something was seriously wrong at Kustoms came in December 2021, when Counting Cars quietly aired its final episode without any fanfare or official announcement. After nearly a decade of success, one of the History Channel's most popular shows simply ended. But the network's silence about the cancellation speaks volumes about what was really happening behind the scenes. Recent investigations have revealed that Danny Koker is still alive and well, despite internet rumors suggesting otherwise. Kustoms remains open for business, and the museum continues to attract tourists to Las Vegas. But the absence of new television content raises serious questions about what went so wrong that a profitable show with a dedicated fan base suddenly stopped production. Industry insiders suggest that the combination of legal troubles, cast departures, and behind-the-scenes drama finally reached a breaking point. When your right-hand man disappears without explanation, your accountant steals $75,000, and multiple key cast members quietly exit, it becomes nearly impossible to maintain the family-friendly, feel-good narrative that made the show successful. The History Channel has made no official announcement about whether Counting Cars will return, and that silence is deafening. Networks don't typically abandon successful shows without serious reasons, and the fact that they're not even discussing the possibility of future seasons suggests there are ongoing issues that can't be resolved with simple cast changes or format adjustments. For fans hoping to see their favorite automotive reality show return, the truth is harsh. The Counting Cars you fell in love with is gone forever. The chemistry that made it special was destroyed by the very real problems that reality television tried so hard to hide. What remains is a business trying to rebuild its reputation, and a cast scattered to the winds, leaving behind only reruns and unanswered questions about what really happened in those final turbulent years.